Good evening. My name is Jordy Gagnon, and I am originally from Duck Lake, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm Métis, which means I am a combination of French and Cree. Growing up, education really wasn't important in my family. My mom wanted us to graduate high school because that was something that wasn't done by many of my family members in the past. And she wanted that for me so that I could go and do whatever I wanted. To say I was a good student is an understatement. My experiences in school were getting in trouble a lot, not listening, not being engaged. But now, as I reflect back on my experience, we were taught white content by white teachers in a white system of education. Although those people were really nice who taught me, it was just never for me because I was just never engaged with it. It wasn't until 2005 when I traveled to Rotorua, New Zealand, that I got to experience a little bit of Maori culture and how that was being taught in high schools and kids that I worked with when I was there. I thought it was so cool that when I came home in the spring of 2006, I immediately applied for the Saskatchewan Urban Native Teacher Education Program at the University of Saskatchewan. The SUNTEP program is designed for Métis students to get their Bachelor of Education degree. And to say that that changed my life is an understatement. Over the last 14 years, through school, through being a high school teacher, to working specifically with Indigenous post-secondary education, I've come to where I am today, and I'm very proud of where I've come from and where I've gotten. Doing grad studies was always part of my plan, if for nothing else than to just serve as a role model for Métis students moving forward. What I realize now through doing grad studies is that we need more Indigenous leaders across the board in all areas of work, no matter what it is. Whether you work at a university, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, we need the education level to move forward. I see some good changes happening with key positions at our university being occupied by Indigenous leaders. I see Indigenous programming popping up more and more. And I see people now who are hired to make a big difference in how traditional knowledge and Indigenous culture is being incorporated. We still have a long way to go, but the fact that we're starting a movement is very impressive. Over the years, I've learned a lot from our elders about how to be a lifelong learner, about how to live a life of respect for yourself, for your community, and for others. I've learned that it's okay to stand up and fight against some things that may not be right. I now hold a position at the university that deals directly with Indigenous agriculture and how this entry point is a point of success for many of our students coming in. I see that students come and they're unsure of the system of education that they're working in, but I also see that it's an entry point that will set them up for success moving forward should they choose to continue on with their education. Part of what I want to learn about in our travels to New Zealand is how the Maori culture is incorporated across the board in schools, what that looks like for a post-secondary experience for Maori students. And I hope to look at potentially how that could be, some of that information could be taken home to help me in my everyday job, not only in my college, but at our university as a whole. I look forward to working with Indigenous leaders who are setting an example in a system of education that hasn't always been favorable to us as Indigenous people. New Zealand's a beautiful country. I look forward to seeing you all, and I can't wait to fly out in 1 week.